consistency is not just about the volume. It's not about quantity per se. It's more about the intention behind the thing that you're doing, like I said. And the biggest thing I really want to say and reiterate from the masterclass is that your devotion to your business is going to drive your consistency. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, and we are now in October, which is so exciting. I cannot believe that we are in Q4 of 2024. And honestly, it's crazy because I recorded all of my podcast episodes for September. I recorded those in the beginning of August, you guys, because, I had the wedding and things were like just very crazy and very busy, and you know that I am the consistent queen, so I made sure that all of my content was done well in advance. And so I was recording stuff for September in the beginning of August. So this is the first time I've really been able to talk to you guys, like really talk to you in a while. And I go on my honeymoon this month. Speaking of my wedding, I go on my honeymoon. We go at the very end of the month. I'm so excited. We're going to Mexico, and we're going to a very bougie, fancy resort. It's like 5 stars, a hotel room with a plunge pool and a jacuzzi. It's 2 floors. We have a butler. We've got room service. And the resort that we're going to is really amazing, with like really amazing restaurants, a private beach, everything like that. I am so excited. I cannot wait. If you know anything about me, you know that I love luxury. I love spending on experiences the most. I love to get massages, facials, go to the spa for a day. I just really enjoy like relaxing experiences. And I'm so excited to go on my honeymoon with my new husband. We've been loving being married. We've been together for so long at this point. It feels the same, but like we just keep on like saying to each other like we're married. We're married. It's crazy. And we're just super excited for the future. So those are the personal side of things. Oh, I also got a puppy. When I'm recording this, it is almost the end of September, and we haven't actually gone to get her yet, but I am picking up Ruby Tuesday, on actually Tuesday, October 1st, and she's a little Chihuahua puppy. We thought that Hugo would really adapt better if he had a Chihuahua as well. And she's a girl, and he historically does better with girl dogs. It's the weirdest thing ever. So when you're listening to this, I have my puppy, and I'm so excited. Okay, so the things that are happening in the business. Let me just give you a quick update. So I have changed the Fraud Squad Mastermind to the Real Deal Mastermind. In September, I did an entire series called Fraud to 5 Figures. So go back and listen to all of those episodes if you're not caught up, because they are so good. They're so juicy. And that was a series to promote the Fraud Squad Mastermind. But when I was thinking about what I wanted to rename the mastermind, because for the longest time I was like, I'm going to rename it. And something about me is I'm not going to stop for anything, right? Not knowing what I'm going to call something never stops me from creating, taking action. If I can't think of something, I'm just going to continue to move forward. I'm going to task my subconscious with the thought of, you know what? I need a name. I need a name for this. Come up with something for me. And I really want to call you out here, because if you are holding back because of semantics like this. If you're not selling, if you're not really doing things in your business because you can't think of something to call your offer or some stupid fucking excuse like that, you need to stop that shit, because that is stopping you from making so much money. If I would have gotten upset that I was talking about the Fraud Squad so often throughout that series in September, when I had actually changed the name to The Real Deal, I probably wouldn't have even done that series. And it was so good, right? It was so good. You guys absolutely fucking loved it. So we're just going to roll with the punches. And it is now called The Real Deal Mastermind, because you are the real fucking deal. And in this mastermind, you're going to step into big fucking deal energy. You're going to master your messaging for your offers. You're going to create hot content, and you're going to go from making 4 figures a month to 5 figures a month inside of this mastermind. So that is the update. It's now called The Real Deal Mastermind. When you go on any of my pages, you will see that it's all been switched over. And even if you hear the Fraud Squad in earlier episodes I've created, or if I slip up and say the Fraud Squad, which is bound to happen, just know that I'm talking about the mastermind. So I'm talking about the one and only mastermind that I have, which is The Real Deal. And I think that's all my updates for you. So I'm really excited for the end of the year. I always have like a big splash at the end of the year. It's just like something that happens. I also got a Reiki reading in July, and she said that November for me is going to be a really great month. But I don't subscribe to the thought that only November is going to be a really good month, right? We always have a good month, and I'm just so excited. Does that mean that I'm going to the Eras Tour? Does that mean that? Guys, I've been looking at tickets for the Eras Tour for so long, and I'm trying to get them. I didn't get the code when they came out. I was not one of the chosen ones who got the code, but I am determined, even if I have to drop a pretty penny for this tour so my sister and I can go. Like, I need to make it happen. So we'll see what happens, but send me all your good Swiftie juju. And if you've been to the Eras Tour and you're listening to this, send something out into the ether for me, into the universe, that I will get these tickets, because I don't think it's a coincidence that she said November, and I'm coming home for my honeymoon in November. We have a new puppy. So like, big things are happening. Big things are happening. And Black Friday is also in November, right? Like, we're still in October. And what's also coming up is Black Friday, and that is in November. This is just the beginning of October though, but I just wanted to let you know that there will be deals on my courses and such, so keep an eye out for that. If you want first dibs, you can always send me a DM at your Coach Jill and we can get you in. It's a new quarter, you guys. You can make so much money in the last quarter of the year. This is what I'm saying. You don't need to slow down. You don't need to think like, okay, like I'm going to slow down during the holidays. No, you can slow down in December, okay? We are going to make so much money in this last quarter, and I know that you will. So let's finally get into the episode. I'm really excited actually for you to listen to this episode, because it's coming off of my most recent masterclass, which is called Consistent Bitch. This masterclass was so good. You can actually go to the link in my show notes and purchase it for 15% off the price, just for you, podcast fam. It was amazing, and there were so many people who signed up for it and fucking loved it. But at first glance, you're like, okay, consistency is not necessarily a sexy topic, you know, because you hear the word consistency and it seems kind of lame or boring, right? But the thing is, you will not be able to build a business without the ability to be relentlessly consistent. And I'm not saying that consistency needs to look like volume. Consistency needs to look like intention. So when we're talking about consistency, I'm not saying that you need to post 7 days out of the week. I'm not saying you need to show up on stories every single day. I'm not saying you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to do everything possible in order to create a quantity of things. And this is coming from like the content queen. Like, I create content like there's no tomorrow. I create content on Instagram, stories, reels, posts. I do my podcast episodes. I'm coaching my clients. I'm creating trainings and stuff behind the scenes. There is no limit to the amount of content that I create, and it is necessary. If you are someone who's coming into the online space, you really need to show yourself compassion and grace, because even if you're not just coming into the space, even if you've been doing this for a couple of years and you're like, I'm so exhausted by the amount of content I have to fucking pump out, I get it. And you're allowed to have those feelings. You're totally allowed to have those feelings, because it is a lot and it can feel like a lot. And when you feel like, oh my God, I have to do these things for the business, a lot of the time it usually has to do with content. So something that I'm going to be doing in the future actually is hiring a repurposing expert, because eventually in like the next year or so, we're going to think about getting pregnant and have a baby. And I'm going to want to be able to take off 2 to 3 months where I don't have to be thinking about that stuff, right? And that does not mean that I'm not going to be showing up at all. I'm definitely going to take at least 2 months off after having the baby. But I also love my fucking job. I love my job so much. I know that even though I really do want to have kids with my husband, I am a girly that has a purpose. I was supposed to be in the online space. I love being able to work. I love working with my clients. I love making my own money. And there isn't anything that tells me or leads me to believe that I can't be a successful working mother. So I definitely think that when I take time off, it's not that I'm going to be needing a ton of time off from coaching clients or any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to need time off from creating content, because it can be a lot of energy, and it's a lot of creative energy, and that can be really draining. So like I said, I'm going to be hiring a repurposing expert so I can utilize all of this amazing content that I've created and repurpose it into new content for my audience when I'm focused on other things. So with that all being said, the limit does not exist to how much content you have to create as an online business owner. And you just need to make fucking peace with that now. You see how I'm being very demure, very mindful. I'm so sorry for saying that. I'm so sorry. It's all for TikTok, guys. I can't get it off my For You page. But you see how I'm not being like, oh, I have to create content and thinking that there's some like means to an end. I just made fucking peace with it. You are the business owner. You are the person that's running this fucking ship. And that means that your ideas, your thought leadership are going to be at the forefront of your business. You cannot avoid this. You cannot avoid content creation. If you're telling yourself, I'm not good at content, I'm not good at copywriting, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, these are all fucking skills that you will build. Okay? You guys have heard me talk about this before, how there's a difference between skills and traits. That was actually a podcast episode that I did a very long time ago. If you scroll all the way down, how there is a difference between skills and traits. I will try and get that podcast episode linked in the show notes for you guys, so you don't have to go searching for it, but it's a really good episode for you to realize that like these are all skills. Everything that you are building in your business, you just have resistance to it because it's not a skill yet, okay? What people get confused with as a business owner is that they aren't good at the majority of things when it comes to owning an online business. Like, for example, creating content that sells. And they think, I'm just not good at this. But it's not a trait. It is not an inherent trait being good at copywriting. It's a skill, and a skill that you will build upon. I literally always tell my clients that if they want to have a laugh, scroll down to my Instagram circa 2018, 2019, because my copywriting was so bad. I am an academic. I come from a professional writing background. I wrote a book. I'm used to writing research papers. I'm used to being really profesh in my speak. I also used to work with the government, so I used to have to write reports and stuff like that for my job. I used to have to write really professional emails. So when I came into the online space, I didn't know how to write in my authentic voice. I didn't know how to write in the way that you do when you're trying to sell an offer. So this is a skill that you're going to learn and that you can build upon. If I can do it, you can too. So don't get fucking discouraged. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, because this is a skill that you are going to grow upon, and you're going to get just as good as I am at copywriting and selling your offers. So make peace with that now. You are a content machine. You are always going to be creating content. You are always enough, and you are always on time. You are never behind. Okay? It's very easy to tell yourself that you're behind, especially in the online space where things feel like they're moving and changing constantly. But being happy and content with where you're at, even if it's not exactly where you would like to be, is the key here. Consistency is not just about the volume. It's not about quantity per se. It's more about the intention behind the thing that you're doing, like I said. And the biggest thing I really want to say and reiterate from the masterclass is that your devotion to your business is going to drive your consistency. If you're not devoted to your business, if you are not devoted to the outcome of growing your business, making money, fulfilling your purpose, then you're not going to be consistent. And if you're wondering why you quit before you're ahead, if you're wondering why you don't have the stamina to be consistent for long stretches of time, if you're somebody who starts and stops constantly, it's not always an action issue. right? Like, you've already shown yourself that you can take action, but taking action consistently requires a subconscious belief in the driving factor of, I know that I'm capable of this. I know that I'm going to do this. I know that I'm going to be successful and that these actions are going to amount to something. Anytime someone comes to me and says, I have such a hard time being consistent, aside from the strategic side of things, like asking what workflows or systems they have in place that help with that consistency, I always ask this, especially when coaching clients with ADHD. I have ADHD and a lot of my clients have it too. And when I coach a client on this, I find it can be really difficult for us to be consistent because we're so up and down with our moods, with our energy. We get distracted. But despite all that, I'm extremely consistent. And there's no excuse, because behind all the distractions and hyperfocus is the belief that all the work that I'm doing is going to amount to something. Everything I'm doing is going to lead to results that inevitably compound from the actions that I'm taking. I was coaching a client in the From Imposter to Empowered program, and she was talking about manifestation. So in September, we were doing a 5K manifestation challenge inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. And she was saying how she felt like it was so difficult for her to manifest money. And something that I coached her on was the fact that everything she's currently experiencing is a result of her past thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions. Everything you're currently experiencing in your 3D reality is because there's a time delay when it comes to manifestation. There's a time delay between the actions you're taking, the thoughts you're thinking, how you're feeling, and those things are creating what's happening in your future. She was saying, I'm doing all the things and I don't see it yet. And I explained that she is experiencing the results of her previous actions, thoughts, and feelings. But the more you stick with it, the more consistent you are with this practice, the more you catch your thoughts and realize you're telling yourself, I'm not a CEO, I'm not a business owner, I'm not this, I'm not that. And the more you catch yourself and change your internal dialogue, the more actions you take that compound into results. And that's when you're going to feel the effects. It's kind of like when I started creating the From Imposter to Empowered program. This is my signature program that helps you show up with confidence because you overcame imposter syndrome and you can sell your offer so confidently. You're going to learn how to show up consistently without giving up or burning out, and you're going to make $5K a month, and that's going to be a bare minimum monthly income, and that is just the fucking beginning. So that is my signature coaching program. It is a group program. You can go to the link in my show notes to check that out. And I created this offer back in March that's when I really started to bring it all together. I was creating the curriculum, I was talking about it, all of that, and then I launched it. And at the time, I had only signed one person into the group program, and now I've made over $30,000 from that group program from then until now in October. But the actions that I was taking beforehand are what created the over $30,000 for this group program. If I couldn't see the vision, if I didn't commit beforehand, if I wasn't devoted to my future self and the future results, I wouldn't have done the actions, stuck with the plan, and created that $30,000. And this is where a lot of people fall short in the online space. They become victims to instant gratification. They don't see the results that they want right away. And then there's also the added stress of seeing people being like, I just signed a client, I just made 10K in 30 seconds, or I just did that. So first of all, how are you protecting your peace, right? I very rarely go and look at other people who aren't clients, very rarely. And it's important to have boundaries with your time and your attention, especially when you have ADHD and you are prone to scrolling and going down like a shame scroll spiral, And what I'm saying here is that you have to be stronger than that. You have to be more resilient to the fact that there is going to be a time delay between the things that you're currently doing, your consistency, and the results that you're looking for. As soon as you start seeing the results, you'll be like, holy shit, this is everything that I was working for. It's actually happening. I'm so glad I was consistent. But who are you being during that time delay? Who are you being during the time when you're not seeing results? And how are you stepping into your big fucking deal energy? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? Are you letting your emotions take over when you run a fucking business? Because when you run a business, you have to be more than your emotions. And this is not an opportunity to shame yourself. I'm a very emotional person. I've often felt upset about numerous things in my business, but I process how I'm feeling and don't let it affect my actions. There is a big difference between having emotions and letting them take over. That takes impeccable self-awareness and self-honesty. There are a lot of ego deaths that are going to happen throughout your business, and you will have to accept that you must take radical responsibility for everything that goes on in your business. That includes being consistent even when you think you have no reason to be, even when that self-sabotaging part of you says, I just don't want to do this work. I always say it's a non-negotiable for me to do my content for the next week. I like having stuff scheduled 2 weeks in advance, but sometimes life happens and I get busy. And at the very least, it's done a week in advance, including emails and Instagrams. And that is important to me, even if I'm doing it on a fucking Sunday night because I dragged my feet all week, right? I am still sitting on the couch with my laptop saying, you know what, Jill? You didn't do this work because you slept in every day this week. So you know what? You've got to do it now on a Sunday morning when everyone else in the house is still asleep. And that includes my husband, my dog, and my cat. So you are doing this now because that's what you're committed to. And that is how I talk to myself, with compassion and love, but still getting the fucking job done. That consistency, you have no idea how good it feels to see that content come out and say, I'm on top of my shit. Like, it's a high you don't even realize you're looking for. And consistency can feel boring. Consistency can feel like, I just need to be consistent. But there's so much more depth to the people you see online who have been consistent since day one. Whenever I see someone who's been around for years in the online space, I send them so much admiration and love and support because I know what it takes to be consistent in this space. I know it takes an impeccable amount of emotional resilience, of seeing yourself through, of checking your ego, of doing things on the weekend when you don't want to be doing them, of putting in the work so you can have the dream business and dream life that you desire. And it all starts with your devotion to your future self. It all starts with your devotion to the possibility of your potential. If you don't believe in your potential, if you don't believe in your future's potential, you won't be consistent. And we dive deep into this in the Consistent Bitch Masterclass. We dive into how you can build emotional resilience, how you can create devotion in your business as a practice, and how to master your energy to be consistent, even as a woman who has hormones, a 28-day cycle, ADHD. We go deep into these concepts in the Consistent Bitch Masterclass, and you can get it for $111. But actually, if you go to the link directly in my show notes, I will give you, podcast fam, 15% off, and you're going to be mind blown by this masterclass. I'm so excited to share it with you. If you're looking for deeper mentorship with me, your coach Jill, then you're going to want to work with me in either the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Real Deal Mastermind. Depending on your current income level, you can decide which offer is the best fit for you. In the From Imposter to Empowered program, if you're trying to create any consistent income at all, you actually start at zero at the beginning of the month, or you're in the low 1K to 2K to 3K range and trying to get to 5K a month consistently, then you're going to want to join the From Imposter to Empowered program. But if you're going from 4-figure months to 5-figure months and looking to step into that next level in your business, expand your offer suite, get more people into your paid offers, then you're going to want to come into the Real Deal Mastermind. Those options and those sales pages, along with all the information you need, are at the link in my show notes. And if you have any questions at all, you know how to find me on Instagram at YourCoachJill, and we can have a chat. Okay? I love you guys so much. Happy Q4, and I will see you next week. Hey babe, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Screenshot it and put it on your stories and tag me at Your Coach Jill. And if you really love me, you'll rate and review the podcast. And if you screenshot it before you submit the review and send it to me, I will send you a free gift on me. If you want to take this work deeper, come and work with me in the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Real Deal Mastermind. And finally, if you want just a snippet of my work to feel what it's like to be in my world, then you need to buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and you can get that on Amazon. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.